Welcome to Pickin with Grits YouTube, and we're going to talk about a few things today. We're going to talk about some what solds, we're going to talk about some new items, and then I changed the topic for today. I was going to talk about items that got delisted, but I think I'm going to talk about the shipping rate change again. Everybody's favorite subject to talk about on YouTube is USPS changing shipping rates non-stop throughout the year, and they're doing it again on August 22nd. So we're going to talk about that. First, let's get into some what solds. So the first item today is a Klein tape measure. This was picked probably for $1 or $2 at a yard sale, and it sold for, what did it sell for? $19.95. So if you ever see these old style tape measures out, these do sell. And it's a Klein Tools item, so you know it's a seller. So pick them up. Next is a vintage Miami Dolphin jersey. It was a Dan Marino jersey, and it was a youth size. And a lot of times the youth stuff I know doesn't sell great on eBay, but this, you know, if you put it at the right price, they will sell. I think we got 19 bucks for it, and didn't cost much, so it was a great item to put up. We put it at the right price, and it sold quick. It was only listed for a few days, and it was gone. So let's see, what do we got next? Another Klein Tools item. These are the Klein Tools nut drivers. These are the hollow shaft nut drivers. We picked them up for a few dollars at a yard sale, and I think we got like $22 for them. There's a nice little profit. They're real easy. I didn't have to do any cleaning or anything. They were in good shape when we got them. And easy pick, easy list, and easy sell, and easy ship. So it was a great item. So the next item was one of my absolute favorite things to sell is high quality tools. Sell a lot of tools. That's my favorite thing to sell. And this one was a good tool. Snap-on. I think my wife and son found this in a thrift store. It was like in a bag. There was a whole bag of wrenches for a few dollars, and they happened to see the Snap-on in the bag, and they were like, well, it's worth a few dollars just for that one wrench. And then when they got it home, we discovered there was another Snap-on in there, and they were both metrics, which tend to sell better. And so we got some decent money for it. We got $17.95, and the other one that sold, I think we got like $20 couple for. So that's a great profit. And then there was a bunch of loose wrenches. There was a couple Craftsman in there. I think those are still listed for sale. So we made some decent money on that thrift store find. And then this Tiger Electronics game, I think my son picked this. It was just for a few dollars, and it sold for $17.95. If you ever see those old electronic games from like the 90s or early 2000s, a lot of that stuff sells. If you can pick it up and it works, this one worked. I tested it. It had a nice clean battery compartment, and you know, it was probably listed for a couple days, and it was gone. And another one that's a good item is the Bop It toy. That's a good little game from the 2000s, and if they work, they sell really good. So, and then I think that's it. And then we're going to talk about a couple of new items that we got listed. First one is a WWF The Rock. I think this was one that was in our attic, actually. It might have been left over from when my kids were little. It's a mid-90s item. I think it's a Jack's item. And you know, wasn't sure. The comps were kind of all over the place on it, so I listed it for $19.95, and we'll see if it sells. The next one, some Buc-ee's cups. I think we got this a few years ago. We sold some Buc-ee's items when Buc-ee's was first catching on, and now that there's the website, the Snack Time website or whatever it's called, Texas Snacks, I think, you know, there's not such a high demand on eBay or reselling sites for the Buc-ee's item. They do still sell if you put them at a decent enough price, but this one I think was actually listed on our Poshmark for a long time. I didn't know it, and my daughter was like, "Hey, Dad, maybe try this on eBay." I was like, "Okay," so I moved it over to eBay. So we're giving it a shot. It's been there for a day or two. This item here is 111 millimeter slide lock Swiss Army knife. I got these in a lot. There was 2 of them, and I think I paid $4 for it, and in an auction. And the pictures weren't great, so I wasn't exactly sure if they were Swiss Army knives, but I kind of thought they were, because I have a bunch of Swiss Army knives myself. Plus, I've sold a bunch over the years, so I definitely recognized them. And I was like, well, let's see if they are. And I think I paid $4. Well, this one here is worth in the 40s, and if it was in perfect condition, it'd have been worth way more. But it's still in good condition, and I should get around $40, $44 for it. So, and then the last but not least on the new listings is this Jersey axe head. And my absolute favorite thing to sell are vintage axe heads. That's how we got into reselling to begin with. Many years ago, we started selling on Etsy, and for a long time, I only sold on Etsy. I didn't sell anywhere else. I would just occasionally list an item on eBay. So I've had an eBay account since, I don't know, probably 2005 or something. And every once in a while, I'd list an item here or there, but I didn't really start selling consistently until like 2011, 2012. And the first things we were selling were tools, and it was mainly vintage axes. And so it's still my favorite thing to sell. We don't find as many as we used to find because it was a huge hobby there for a while. I still think it's a pretty big hobby. A lot of people collect vintage axes. There's just not as many out there, but when I do find them, I usually clean them up, and then we list them for sale, and they usually sell. So it's a good selling item. If you ever find them, especially vintage Jersey axes, they do sell, and it's a great item. And last but not least, we're going to talk about this goofy shipping. I mean, the shipping with this is just all over the place. I'm not understanding why they can't get this figured out. But now, if you see, there's a new change, August 22nd. They're changing the 2-pound rate, or they're lowering the 2-pound rate, which is good for us in the resale community, and it's good for our customers too. But I guess they figured because once anything goes over a pound, it automatically becomes a 2-pound item. And to ship an item that was 1 pound to 2 pounds, it was more than it was to ship a 3 to 5 pound item. And it just didn't make a lot of sense. And so it looks like that's what they're trying to do, is fix that issue. They really need the issue that eBay needs to work on is the really lightweight, low dollar items, the shipping on those. And I've seen a decrease in sales on my lower dollar items because the shipping has gotten so high. I mean, who wants to buy a $10 item when the shipping is $8? I mean, it's just not, I'm still selling some small items, but not as much as I was. And I've definitely seen probably a 20 to 25% decrease in sales on my small items because of that. I know eBay came out with the, the multi-quantity discount, where we can set that up now where, you can buy, 2 or 3 things and get a discount. I'm sure that is, in part due to, maybe you get somebody to group 2 or 3 low dollar value or low dollar items together in one group, and, and to kind of combat the high cost of shipping. I don't know if that's the purpose of it, but that's what I think was probably the purpose of it. But what they really need to do is, for us eBay resellers, is to find a standard, 1 to 8 ounces cost $6, 8 to 15 ounces cost $7, something. There needs to be something found there so we can get that fixed, and especially before Christmas, I'd love to see them do something with that, help us resellers out, and help us have a successful fourth quarter. which is coming soon. So, and just a reminder to everybody, if you haven't used your eBay shipping coupon yet, don't forget to use that. It expires September 30th. Make sure you use that coupon. And that's about all I got for you today on this video. I want to ask you to subscribe, like the video, come back for more. This is Pickin with Grits. I'm out.